Hello, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. If you don't know already, I'm Emily Shaw, better known as Daring Girl Fitness. And today, we're going to be talking about me ditching my hormonal birth control pill. Pow, pow. Okay, so before we dive further into this video, would appreciate any support y'all want to give to continue to help me grow what I'm doing and grow my YouTube. So if you like this video, if you find it helpful, informative, or you just want to give me a little bit of that extra support, I would appreciate a like, a subscribe to my channel, and comments down below. Now that's out of the way, we can get started talking about birth control. Okay, so probably like many of you, I started on birth control in high school. Honestly, I can't even fully remember what age I was when I started, which in itself is a little bit like, it's been too long. But I think it was my junior or senior year. And I went on it without really knowing what it was, other than to like, hey, like prevent pregnancy. Like that's what I knew it as. I didn't really understand what I was doing to my body. I didn't really understand other alternatives, I guess, within kind of the birth control space on like the hormonal end, and didn't understand really any long-term potential side effects. So again, I went into it not fully knowing that, hey, like this is going to be putting synthetic hormones into my body, it's going to be changing some things. I just went on it because that's what the doctor said, that's what a lot of other people were doing. So I went on it, and since I've been on it for, oh my gosh, like 8 years, 7 years or so, I really don't know what my body and me feel like without it, or felt like without it. So it's hard to know sometimes if it was the birth control or if it was just me being me, if I felt tired or moody or like a lot of other different symptoms. And so for me personally, I think the pros outweighed the cons of stopping birth control. And so I was just feeling tired a lot of the time, like no sex drive, sometimes just kind of sad, just a little bit moody, if you want to call it. And I was just kind of tired of knowing that I don't really know what I feel like without this thing. Like I didn't fully feel in tune with who I was and what I was doing. And so I've seen more and more women bring up more education and share more of their experiences of what birth control actually is, what it's doing inside your body, and just sharing their own personal experiences of coming off the pill. So I was like, you know what, I want to try it. And again, this is a decision that's completely personal to you. It's not something to where it's like you need to feel shame for choosing one or the other. And I'm not a doctor, I'm not a hormonal expert. This is just me sharing my own kind of personal journey with it. So if you ever have any questions or anything like that, I'll always refer you to women who are specializing in this space, who are doctors, who are more so hormone specialists, because again, I'm just here to share my experience. For the past, again, couple years, I was on the birth control pill. So I was on the pill. This is what I've been on since the beginning. I'm not sure if it's this exact brand, like through the years, it's always kind of changed. But I've been on this one, Estrella, Estrayl. It's Estraylla. It's a combo pill. So estrogen, progesterone, but it's supposed to also be lower dose. So it's not supposed to have as intense of a side effects. But this is what I've been on for a long period of time. And I stopped February 14th, so Valentine's Day, because this pack ended right on my birthday, which was February 13th. So I wanted to just end the pack and go right into not taking it. So I kind of wanted to run through the cycle just to hopefully maybe give my body a little bit of an easier transition. Okay, so back to talking about what's supposed to be going on or what goes on in your body normally if you're not on birth control. So you go through a cycle, and your cycle is typically 28 days, and it is started by your period. So that's actually the start of your period, and within the first 14 days is the follicular phase. Basically, it's like estrogen's higher, your eggs are getting ready for ovulation, which is the middle of your cycle, usually day 14, and this is when LH is its highest, FSH, so LH is luteinizing hormone, FSH is follicle stimulating hormone, estrogen is also high. So LH triggers your egg releasing, which is when you're ovulating, which is when you can get pregnant. And after that happens, you go into your luteal phase, which is when estrogen drops a little, progesterone is higher. And so that's the pregnancy hormone. And so if your egg is fertilized, you will be pregnant, and you're not going to then have a period. Progesterone is going to stay higher, and if you ovulate, you don't get pregnant, your egg's not fertilized. That's when then, after about 28 days, your progesterone and hormones drop again, and that's when your period starts. So that's what it's supposed to kind of look like, right? Your body's going through these cycles of higher and lower estrogen, progesterone, other hormones, and this is what it looks like, within a book, which I will be talking about the books and like kind of research I used to just understand a little bit more about everything. That's again what your hormones are supposed to look like. You can see like this is luteal phase, hormones pop up for ovulation, and then estrogen drops, progesterone's higher, and then everything drops again to start this process over again. So, whoa, sorry about that. So basically, if you are on the pill, then you're not having these ups and downs. You're not actually cycling through with your hormones. It's all just kind of flat. And that's basically what it wants, because then you're not able to ovulate. And so this is Beyond the Pill by Dr. Jolene Brighten, one of the books I really enjoyed. And I also follow her on Instagram. It's free. She gives out a lot of good information. But with your period on the pill, and if you're using a combo birth control like I was, basically, let me look. With the combo pill, it suppresses ovulation, thickens cervical mucus, blocks sperm, changes tubal motility, and thins uterine lining. So it just, you're not able to get pregnant. If there's no ovulation happening, you're not having an egg releasing, and nothing's able to then be fertilized. So basically, it, again, kind of like flatlines everything. It stops everything from going in these cycles. And so you're not truly having cycles. You're not truly having a period. And so when you take your 3 weeks of, like birth control pill, and then you have like that week of sugar pills, and you bleed, you're not technically having a period. It's basically just stopping these synthetic hormones, and it's like withdrawal bleed. So it's not necessarily a period because you never had an ovulation to have a period. So one of the things that I continue to learn after doing like more of the reading and things like that is your brain basically stops communicating like with your ovaries, with your reproductive system, and it just throws everything off a little bit. So again, you can still be healthy, you can still feel good and continue on while on birth control. But for me, I just realized like I didn't really understand what was going on in my body, what birth control pill was doing when I started. And honestly, one of the most frustrating things is women just really aren't taught any of this while in high school. Like, I know we all sex ed, but like that was such a joke really for what it could have been. But the only reason that I know anything or knew anything about like more in-depth hormones of pregnancy and such was because I'm in like the dairy industry, and we did Dairy Bowl, which is like, it's a contest where you answer questions about like the dairy industry, cows, things like that. And so that's where I understood like cow cycles. So like if I knew things about women and our like hormones and cycles, it's because of cows. Shout out. But so to learn more about all this, again, I was just kind of seeing more women talk about it, more women talk about their experiences, and I was also kind of noticing, man, I'm always tired, my libido's low, like sometimes I just get in these really weird moods, and like I was still able to lose weight, I was still able to build muscle and like go through a lot of different phases within my goals, but I didn't know if I felt my best because I couldn't even remember what I felt like before the pill. And so for me, the pros outweighed the cons of potentially, dealing with cramps coming off, or if you deal with acne, or just having to deal with your body regulating after so many years of those hormones being suppressed. So again, I read Beyond the Pill by Dr. Jolene Brighten. This was a really great book. She does kind of push her supplements in here a lot, but honestly, I'll go over my supplements soon. Like, I didn't purchase any of hers directly, but it just gives you a really good idea of maybe recognizing like, hey, if you feel a certain way, this could be why. And it just goes over more in depth on periods, what happens to your periods when you're on hormonal birth control, and she goes over different options for non-hormonal birth control. And then I also read the Period Repair Manual by Laura Bryden. Also very good. You can see, pretty thick book. They're both a little bit thicker, but they go really in depth in everything, and just in depth on different options for you within supplements, and also some lifestyle changes. So going over lifestyle changes, I would say both of these books, okay, there we go. Both of these books do recommend swapping out some nutritional things. So I have not removed anything from my diet. They talk about like completely removing like gluten, sugar, dairy, caffeine, alcohol, because all those, not all those things, but alcohol, caffeine, they can be hormone disruptors, and some of the other people maybe just don't react as well to dairy and gluten. But for me, I'm not cutting any of that out. Honestly, it's not realistic for me. It's not sustainable, and I feel good. And to preface this, like, it does take a different amount of time for everyone to regulate and kind of react to coming off birth control. So for some people, maybe they're back to normal after a couple weeks or a month or two. Some people it takes like 3 to 6 months, and what I've heard may take like 3 to 6 months for your skin to regulate. So my skin's been great so far since coming off about 3 weeks ago, but I know the worst may be yet to come, so mentally preparing for that. But again, those are some of the things that they recommend coming off of and maybe like detoxing from. But honestly, I have not removed anything. I have been more conscious of caffeine and honestly alcohol in general, just because, you know, alcohol is not that good for you anyways. So I still do drink it, maybe just not as much as often. And then caffeine, I'm limiting it to whether, like, I'm doing non-stim pre-workout now for Hormonal nutrition, and then if anything, I'll just do like a smaller cup of coffee during the day, and maybe eventually I'll go decaf, because I just love a cup of coffee in the morning. But those are really some of the only things I changed. And some of the other important things are just making sure that you're managing stress. So that's something I've really been trying to not get under control just now, but constantly being aware of stress management, making sure you're getting in enough sleep, and honestly just getting in a really whole nutrient dense diet and making sure you're eating enough food. Because you're not eating enough food, you're not giving your body and your hormones enough nutrients to really function at their best capacity anyway. So right now I am in a maintenance phase / reversing, so I am still increasing calories slightly, so that's a really good timeline as well. So I would recommend, if you are looking to come off the pill, just making sure you're eating enough food and also enough high quality food, and just making sure you're getting in enough protein and also enough high quality fat. So that's obviously different for everyone, so I'm not going to tell you how much you should be eating, but just making sure, I wouldn't say you should be in a diet or like a calorie deficit or a cutting phase if you are doing this. So again, I'm already on top of nutrition with my macros, so I'm hitting those, and I'm getting a ton of fiber in. I'm trying to get in a lot of different gut friendly foods. That's things like fermented foods, so that could be things like kombucha, kimchi, sauerkraut, pickles, kefir, even yogurts, different cottage cheese has really good probiotics in those. And so those are a few things on the nutrition front, like with whole foods. And I'm just continuously making sure to get in lots and lots of fruits and veggies. I've been like packing in a ton of smoothies lately, and smoothies are great because you can literally pack it full of so many things. So some of my smoothies have been like triple berry with cherries, frozen cauliflower rice, spinach or kale, and then maybe I'll mix in some flax seeds because that's more healthy fats and fiber. And then maybe if I like mix in yogurt, milk, or protein powder, it's like a nutrient powerhouse right there. So that's really all that I've done. I haven't really changed a lot because, again, trying to remove a bunch of the things that they suggest in here honestly would just stress me out and not make me happy, which probably in the end really isn't that good for my hormones either. And so I have to try to be aware also though of snacking on like super sugary foods, and more so trying to get that with maybe, or get some snacks and fill all of those with maybe a little bit less sugar, just because I think we could all probably eat a little bit less sugar because I have a major sweet tooth. And also strength training has a ton of great benefits. Like if you're coming off of this, and honestly in general, you don't want to be doing super high intensity exercise all of the time because that's just putting your body in a really constant place of stress. So strength training can be really great to help with insulin resistance. It can help just your body function and feel its best, and it can just, again, help your hormones regulate a little bit better without placing super high intense stressors on it. So I've already been strength training, and I've still just been really making sure I'm resting and recovering from that while still pushing myself, and also just trying to get in a lot of movement and steps throughout the day outside of like intense cardio. Also, aside from these two books, Beyond the Pill and Period Repair Manual, a couple ladies have talked about period power, women's code, and again, Jolene Brighton's really great to follow on Instagram. Also, Lori Christine King, I think her Instagram name is. She's really great to follow as well. She talks a lot about different maybe lifestyle changes and resources to learn more about women's health and hormones. So now we can dive into some of the different supplements that I have been taking and what I've really added in, more so specifically to now coming off the birth control pill. Okay, so I know it's a pretty big lineup right here, but before you look to supplements to be this magic fix, it's not, right? Supplements are just that, they're supplements. They're not going to be the thing that fixes or makes anything magically disappear or get better. You have to make sure you are aware of your lifestyle choices and also aligning that. So again, on top of me being more consistent with sleep, stress management, training, recovery, nutrition, I'm on top of that, and then I'm looking to add these supplements on top of that. So some of the supplements that I already take on the daily before I made this decision, Bone Nutrition probiotics can really just help with gut health, and I'll link everything down below. Probiotics, a multivitamin. Some ladies have taken like prenatals because they are just packed full more of nutrients at a higher dose, because the birth control pill can lead to nutrient deficiencies within your body. But magnesium, which honestly I would recommend all women get on, because it's very common that people aren't getting enough magnesium in their diet, and this can help with muscle health, bone health. Also, it is shown that it can have a little bit more of a calming effect, so some people do take this before bed. And then fish oil, also from Bone Nutrition. And fish oil is also something, an omega-3s, that people may not be getting enough of. I know I don't really eat seafood or fish, which is where a lot of those can come from. So this can just help with heart health. It can help with inflammation. And also with that, I do take Bone Nutrition greens powder, which again, supplements aren't magic, but it can just potentially help fill any gaps that I may be missing within my whole foods that I'm eating. And I also recently started taking Bone Nutrition collagen again, just to continue to help with skin health, hair health, and my nail health. And then these are some of the supplements I started adding in because I knew one was becoming off the pill. So for me personally, I started like taking these supplements for like my last month of being on the pack, and I'm still taking them now. I'll probably take them maybe for another month or so, so maybe like 1 to 2 months, maybe even longer, after I'm coming off hormonal birth control, to just help my body regulate a little bit better. So DIM, it's DIM. It stands for, it's Dion, I can't even pronounce it. It's like diindolylmethane. It helps with estrogen metabolism support, so it just helps your body work through that, because typically when you are coming off hormonal birth control, and even if you're on it, you are usually estrogen dominant, which if you are dominant or any hormone is too high or too low, it's not going to be doing a lot of great things in your body. So DIM helps with estrogen metabolization, so I'm taking one of those a day. Maca root, this is maca. It is meant to help with, it may support sexual well-being, and it can just help with libido and getting everything like that back in line. Also turmeric, which I may just keep this in here anyways. Turmeric also helps with inflammation, which inflammation may happen no matter what, but especially coming off birth control, your body's just regulating, reacting, and I just really wanted to try to help minimize anything that was going on. And then Stress B complex, again, this could be something that may be beneficial outside of just using birth control, but basically it helps with like adrenal health, which is kind of in control of stress levels, how you're feeling, fatigue, things like that. So this was just something that I decided to take as I've read through some of these books and kind of recognize how I was feeling, maybe what some of the underlying effects were. These are what my current supplements look like. And again, I know it may seem like a lot, but just knowing that there are some potential side effects of coming off birth control, I just wanted to potentially get ahead of the game and try to help my body regulate and get back to its normal state, which I don't think it's seen a normal state for quite some time. Now, just kind of speaking of my experience of coming off. So I know why a lot of women are scared of coming off birth control. First off, don't want to get pregnant. I still don't want to get pregnant for quite a few years, so this is not like a secret pregnancy announcement. Like, I'm still not trying to get pregnant, but I know that's one reason women don't want to come off birth control. Also, you know, a lot of people and women are put on birth control from their doctors because they may have had underlying issues like acne, terrible cramps, really heavy or long periods. And so a lot of women are maybe nervous of getting that back when they're off birth control. And so acne, cramps, heavy periods, like sore breast, mood swings, everything like that, I know were some of the reasons that even I was like, oh my God, like it's so scary. Like, well, I don't want to get off, like I don't want to have any of that. But for me, knowing that you can really be aware of your lifestyle choices and your lifestyle, and there's different supplements to really hopefully maybe minimize some of that, that's where the pros outweigh the cons of just being more aware of how my body was responding, actually allowing my natural, real hormones to run again, have actual cycles, and just feel more like myself, which honestly I do, was worth it more to me than potentially having to deal with these side effects. So I'm about a month off the pill now. Honestly, I've not had any negative side effects. And I know, again, it may take a longer time for any of these to hit. I also have not been off it long enough to have a period yet, just because, again, it's been 3 weeks. But hopefully that's coming soon. Again, some women it may happen right away. Some women it takes a couple months to get an actual period back. But that's just something I'm waiting on and hoping for. I'm kind of nervous. I haven't had like a true period since high school. So I have no idea what it's going to be like. But again, I haven't dealt with like cramps, acne or anything like that yet. But again, for skin, it may take a couple months for your body to fully regulate, which may then means your skin, it may break out a little bit later down the road. But I'm on a pretty good skincare routine, and I do go to like a med spa once a month. So hopefully I can stay on top of it that way. But everything for me has honestly been going really good with it. I'm really happy with my decision, just because, again, I just feel more like myself, and it just feels good to know that I'm allowing my body to get back to a more normal state and just allowing everything to function at its best capacity, and hopefully just allowing my hormones to run free again and really just do their thing as they're meant to do. And so for alternatives to birth control, so there's multiple forms of birth control, right? But hormonal birth control really is most likely the most effective if used correctly, but there are a couple different methods. So there's FAM, fertility awareness method, which basically you track different vital signs, and this can determine when you are going to ovulate, when you are going to have your period. And so there are a couple different apps, Clue, Flow. I'm using Natural Cycles. So basically what Natural Cycles does is you take your basal temp, I can't think of the word. You take your temperature every morning, and I did by their thermometer. So you take your temperature every morning, like as soon as you're awake in bed, stick it under your tongue, take your temperature, and basically based on what your temperature is, how that's regulating throughout the month, and once you then finally have your period, they're able to, based on their algorithm, have a really good idea of when you're ovulating and when you're going to have your period. And they basically tell you like, hey, these are like the 6 or so days that you shouldn't be having unprotected sex because you can't get pregnant, and then these are the days that you are not ovulating and you are not fertile, because you can only get pregnant when you're ovulating, and sperm have a shelf life, if you want to call it, of like 5 to 7 days. So usually then it's like a window in here that it shows about a week you shouldn't be having unprotected sex if you don't want to get pregnant. So that's what I'm using right now. And again, I haven't had a period yet, so it's not able to fully tell me on, like, based on their algorithm, when I'm going to be having my period, when I'm going to be having like ovulation and everything like that. But I've been tracking my temperature for about 20 days now. And it also gives you information on like what's your cervical mucus look like, what are some of your symptoms, how are you feeling, and that could just give you a better idea of recognizing how are you feeling during different cycles to know potentially when your ovulation and your period is happening. But I'm using this, and I know a lot of other women use this type of tracking as well, and it just gives you an idea of when you should and shouldn't be having unprotected sex if you don't want to get pregnant. And also condoms. I know condoms have been around forever, but they are one of the old school really good versions of birth control if you don't want to get pregnant. More than anything, y'all, like, this is not for me to make anyone feel bad about being on birth control, not on birth control. This is just what I felt was the best decision for me, and for me personally, the pros outweighed the cons. And more than anything, I just encourage you to do your own research from reliable, real sources. So some of these books I mentioned, there are probably more out there, but they can just give you a really good idea of what's going on in your body, what's a period supposed to look like, and also, again, giving you a lot of different information on lifestyle changes you can make. And again, they go over a ton of different birth control options in here that aren't hormonal birth control. So it's giving you a lot of options. So again, then you can feel confident about what you think the best decision is for you. So that's kind of my journey so far. Maybe I'll continue to do updates depending on how I feel. Again, I feel really good right now. I'm honestly really happy with the decision. I'm really excited to kind of see how I feel moving forward. I'm excited to finally have an actual period, which maybe I'll regret that if it hits me and it's like really terrible. But thank you guys for watching. I try to cover a lot of different things that I did to prepare for this and kind of what I'm doing now. But again, I'm feeling really good. I honestly just feel more like myself, more energy, just happier not being on birth control. And if you have any questions, please just drop them below, or y'all can like reach out to me on Instagram if you would like it to be like a more personal question. Of course, my Instagram is Dairy Girl Fitness. But if you enjoyed this video, if you guys found it helpful, if you just want to show some support, I would again appreciate a like. If y'all want to comment down below, if you want to subscribe to my channel, I will continue to kind of update y'all on this if you would like, to really just help you hopefully find resources that allow you to feel empowered with your health and how you're taking care of it. So thanks for watching, y'all. We'll be back another time to chat about something else.